Hi, this is Trey Passer. I'm going to do a reaction to Mr. Nightmare. I haven't done one of these in a couple of months, so I think I was due for this. So I picked 3 videos. Okay, and the first one is going to be 3 Disturbing True College Horror Stories by Mr. Nightmare. And again, like I said, I'm really a big fan of his channel. Love the whole mood he sets when he tells the stories, and they're fantastic. And it's usually, like I said, it's usually 3 for his stories, and I get through it. Okay, so please sit back and enjoy and get comfortable and sit back and enjoy with me these 3 true scary Hollywood college stories. Okay, so again, please hit the like and subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's get right to it, and I'll be right back with my reaction. Okay, let me put my headphones on. Okay, let's get right to it. Okay, so let's get right to it. Okay, here we go right now. Go.
The topic of today's video is college horror stories, whether they take place on campus or in a social setting such as college bars or parties.
Yep.
A big part of a person's college years will be the social aspects.
Story 1 by Vittorio.
My name is Chuck. I graduated from the University of California, Berkeley in 2016.
Okay.
My college experience was perfect. I was part of a frat, I managed my studies well, and spent just the right amount of time chasing girls. I'm actually still friends with a lot of my old frat brothers, and I recently got engaged to my fiancée Rosie, whom I also met at Berkeley.
Okay.
If you had asked me my opinion of Berkeley when I was a freshman though, I can assure you that my answer would be very, very different. What I'm about to tell you is one of the main reasons why. I was never overly ambitious in high school. The Berkeley atmosphere was extremely foreign to me, and it was weird being surrounded by so many self-proclaimed high achievers. As a freshman, I was quickly swept up into the frenzy of career development and planning the next 30 years of your life as an 18-year-old.
Okay.
Silly, I know, but that was the nature of my school at the time.
Okay.
If you wanted to get any sort of offer in the business world, having a strong LinkedIn profile was a necessity. I can still remember the stress of cultivating a professional image online, as if my future hinged on which people I connected with and what skills I listed. Regardless, I checked all the boxes and began my search for a summer internship.
Okay.
It wasn't long before my inbox chimed with an actual meaningful message. To my genuine surprise, a prestigious business firm had reached out to me, expressing interest in my profile. It wasn't one of those bot messages either. The substance of the message indicated that this was actually a unique message designed specifically for me.
Oh.
I read it over like 6 times before finally responding, and after about a day and a brief correspondence, I was invited to a first-round interview. I spent hours researching the company so I'd know what to expect come the interview, and I prepped myself with all the sample questions I could find. I soon got a message from a guy named Armand Slowinski. I'll never forget that name for as long as I live.
Oh.
He stated that he was to be my interviewer, and naturally, the first thing I did was do some background research on the guy.
Okay.
However, excitement soon gave way to puzzlement. I scoured LinkedIn for Armand's profile, expecting to glean some insight into the person I'd soon be meeting.
Okay.
Strangely, I found nothing. No trace of their professional footprint, no social media, nothing.
Uh-oh.
I shrugged it off, attributing it to perhaps a preference for privacy or something like that.
Not a good idea.
Armand and I agreed on a day and time, and he gave me the interview location. I searched it up on my phone and realized that it was some random coffee shop in Oakland. This is when I started getting confused.
Yeah.
Why would an interview not take place in Berkeley?
Yeah.
We had tons of coffee shops and perfect places for interviews in our college town, so I was just perplexed. The address online seemed pretty normal though, so I didn't think much of it. A day before the interview, I told my friend Riley about the situation. He was even more confused than I was, telling me that the situation seemed fishy.
Sketchy.
I agreed with him, but I figured it was worth it for the position I might be getting. He asked me how I was getting there, and I told him I was Ubering. He offered to give me a ride, as he wasn't doing anything at the time.
Okay.
I thanked him and took him up on his offer. Little did I know, I might not even be telling this story if he hadn't offered to drive me.
Oh.
It was 4 in the afternoon the next day, and Riley rolled up to my dorm. Admittedly, I was extremely nervous, and this was one of my first interviews.
Okay.
I got in the car and we were off. 20 minutes later, I told Riley to drop me off on the street, as I didn't want to be seen having a friend drop me off for an interview. I thanked him and he offered to wait for me. I asked him if he was sure, and he smirked, pulling out a big bag of weed from inside of his dashboard. I laughed, then shut the door. I walked the couple minutes to the location and froze in my tracks. I looked up at the literal construction site in front of me.
Whoa.
There was no coffee shop. Even
Whoa.
stranger, this entire area wasn't residential at all. Like, all of the buildings looked closed or private.
Oh.
Confused, I double-checked my phone and confirmed that I was in the right location. This entire block must have been recently demolished. So recently that even Google Maps hadn't updated.
Oh.
I pulled out my phone to call Riley, but before I could, a booming voice rang out behind me.
Whoa.
"Chuck!" exclaimed a deep voice. I whipped around and was met with the appearance of an absurdly tall man wearing an expensive-looking black suit. Thank God, I thought, grateful that this whole ordeal hadn't been some kind of setup. His presence was commanding, yet oddly out of place amidst the derelict surroundings.
Exactly.
I should also note that the car he was standing next to was a matte black Bentley. He walked toward me with a confused look on his face. We shook hands, and when I asked him about the construction site, he said he was just as surprised as I was. He furrowed his eyebrows and put his hand on his chin. "You know what? Why don't we find someplace else? Get in," he said, motioning towards the Bentley.
No.
He walked back to the car and shouted over his shoulder, "Shotgun's all yours." Without another word, he got in the front seat and shut the door. Excitedly, I followed. I walked around the car just to admire it a little, and couldn't help but glance into the back seat. I expected to see the beautiful leather seats that you would expect in a Bentley, but instead, my eyes met a sight that sent a chill down my spine. Lying flat on the ground, obscured by the shadows, was a man. In his hand, he held something long and metal.
Oh.
Panic surged within me, my mind racing with the implications of what lay before me.
Run.
This was a trap. I
Yep.
turned away from the car and ran as fast as I had ever run before.
Yeah.
I heard the man yell my name from behind me, but I didn't even turn around to look.
Exactly.
As I ran, I heard the one sound I was dreading, screeching tires.
Oh.
I shot a glance over my shoulder and saw the car turning around, pointing in my direction.
Uh-oh.
I had to think quickly. There was no way I was going to outrun a car.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I could just escape the situation. There wasn't really any open space around me, just an endless maze of streets. I could feel the terror coursing through my veins.
Jesus.
I made it to the next intersection and faced a choice that may have decided my fate, left or right. Logic told me to just turn left as it was closer, but my feet chose for me before my brain could. I sprinted across the street to the right and darted down the road. I knew I didn't have long, 10, maybe 20 seconds at most.
Yeah.
As if by some miracle, one of the buildings in front of me had a fire escape that looked just low enough to jump onto.
Oh.
With every ounce of my strength I had, I vaulted myself upwards, grabbing onto the ladder.
Yeah.
I had never done a pull-up in my life, but in my mind, this was life or death.
Yeah.
I made it up the ladder and kept climbing.
Yeah.
Bentley whipped around the corner and stopped on the street in front of the building.
Jeez.
I couldn't see the driver, but I knew he was looking at me.
Oh.
There was nothing else I could do. If they chose to follow me, I'd just have to fight. The next minute felt like an eternity. The car stood there a little while longer, and then accelerated down the street, turning left to never be seen again.
Whoa.
I couldn't breathe. I pulled out my phone and called Riley, basically screaming into the phone about what happened. I
Jeez.
stayed on the fire escape until he found me.
Oh.
I got in the car, and we sped off in silence.
Oh.
The aftermath of this whole thing was pretty uneventful. I sort of blocked it out of my brain and refused to talk about it, even with Riley.
What?
As far as I was concerned, it never happened. But as much as I tried, there are times, like right now, when I can't help but recall every horrifying detail of what could have been the last day of my life.
Yeah, you should have told the police. What the hell? Somebody else get kidnapped. Story 2 by Giovanni. Yeah, you should have told somebody else. Police.
This is a fresh story happening pretty recently. My family and I were driving to college to help me move in, as I'm currently a first-year student.
Okay.
Once we arrived, I found out that I would be living in a Jack and Jill, which means you and another room share the same bathroom.
Okay.
So essentially, I'd be living with 3 other guys.
Okay.
I already knew one of them in the other room. We met at orientation and got to know each other.
Okay.
His roommate doesn't matter for this story, though. It's my roommate Demora who I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
I got his socials beforehand and we exchanged information. Prior to moving in, I tried talking to him on Instagram to get to know him better, but his replies seemed dry. On top of that, his profile seems like one of those Discord mods that you see on Instagram Reels or TikTok. Once we moved in, I met him, and ironically, he looked like a Discord mod, except he had a skinny build around my height. He looked very pale and had a peach fuzz mustache.
Okay.
I tried talking to him again. His talking style matched his texting style and seemed very introverted.
Okay.
He stuttered a lot and always tried to end the conversation as quickly as possible. I tried to lighten him up by asking what kind of music he listens to, but he said he doesn't, as music wouldn't fill his cup of emptiness.
What?
To make things more weird, when he set up his PS5, he immediately started gaming. It's not him gaming that's weird, it's what he does when he games.
Okay.
Demora makes these weird grunting noises, violently shakes his body, and laughs when he spams the controller. And he puts his feet in his desk cabinet, occasionally grabbing his feet and pulling them towards his body during his shakes as well. He whispers to himself as he plays by himself or with his online friends, and he usually repeats what he whispered twice in a gigglish manner. He stays in the room 24/7 and almost never does homework.
Jeez.
His movements alone freak me out as I'm trying to sleep. But there's more to this story.
Go ahead.
Sometime around the first week, I went out with some friends that I met in my dorm building, and I came back pretty late to my dorm, around 1 a.m.
Okay.
Demora looked asleep in his bed, so I nudged it off. As I went to my cabinet, which was right next to my bed, I felt my arm hairs get goosebumps and felt the urge to turn around. So I did. Demora was staring right at me with a slight grin on his face.
What?
I yelped and said, "Holy fuck, Demora, why are you looking at me like that?" He laughed it off and said, "Dark time," and turned around to face the wall. This creeped me out, and it happened, I want to say, 3 more times. I tried to move out, but my college said they didn't have any dorms open. So I tried to move into the other room, but one of the other roommates didn't want to leave as well. This meant I was stuck with Demora for the semester, and I just had to deal with it.
Jeez.
About 3 months passed by, and I come back from my English class. When I opened the door to my dorm, Demora stood up in a panic, asking me why I'm back so early. This was weird, as my English class actually ended late, hence me getting back late.
Okay.
I asked him if he needed the room to himself, and he declined, striking some weird pose that looked like it was from some anime, and he said that I shouldn't be worried at all. I visibly cringed at him, and his statement only made me more uncomfortable.
Okay.
I noticed he had a box on his desk, and when I brought it up, he told me that it wasn't important. I shrugged it off. At this time, I noticed that my iPhone charger and my scissors were missing.
Uh-oh.
I asked Demora if he saw it, and he said he had it. He handed me the scissors, and as he was handing me the iPhone charger, the cable knocked his box over to me as well. The box opened, and what I saw made my heart sink. A sticky note that had my name on it fell out. Alongside this was what looked to be a see-through case. Inside of it, eyelashes, a pair of glasses, a pair of my socks, and a disposable photo of me that I took as a joke.
What?
He collected all of it up off the floor as he tried explaining the meaning of it, and I yelled at him to get out. He left immediately. I texted my RA the situation, and he told me that he was out at the moment, but when he comes back tomorrow, to show him the box as evidence so that they would have a reason to kick Demora out. So I got the box and hid it within my laundry bin. I felt really rattled, and the sight of my roommate disgusted me. However, in an hour, he came back.
Oh.
I just told him to stay on his side and not to talk to me. After that, no words were spoken. I tried to stay awake out of fear that he might try to find the box, but after it being a long day, I fell asleep around 2 a.m. When I woke up, I saw Demora was gone, and it felt good seeing him out of the room for once.
Okay.
But then I remembered the box. I went to my laundry bin, and it was gone. I panicked, and not long after, my RA was knocking on the door.
Of course.
I let him in and told him the story. While he did believe me, he said he can't do anything without that box, otherwise he'd just be going off my word alone, which isn't much.
Yeah.
I felt like I was losing my mind. The RA left, and about 5 hours later, Demora came back. I asked him what he did with the box. He played dumb and said, "What box? I don't know what you're talking about." I pressured him to stop playing dumb, but Demora kept denying it. I couldn't stand, look, nor be in the same room with him anymore.
Yeah.
It's now second semester, and yes, I'm still dorming with Demora, unfortunately.
Oh.
He did let me know that he will never do it again, and that if he does, he'll let me know and we'll move out immediately.
Whoa.
I took his word, and we're still dorming as of today. However, I stay out of the room as much as I can. He still creeps me out. The worst part is that I can't sleep sometimes, nor focus during the day, as I keep thinking of what was in the box.
Jesus
Why did he steal my
Christ.
photo? Why did he steal my socks? What were the glasses for? The part that leaves me scared each time is what those eyelashes were doing there.
Oh.
Perhaps weirdest of all was he labeled the box with my name.
Oh. Go put your head in it. Story 3, Anonymous.
This happened to me during my freshman year of college in 2019. I'm graduated now, but I often think about it. During Halloween week, my college had crazy parties daily. I attended a Big Ten school, so there are always fraternity costume parties, and even the bars make people dress up. It gets pretty wild, lots of booze, lots of police, and lots of memories.
Okay.
This event happened to me on the Saturday of Halloween week. Our football team had a huge win that day, and my friends and I were going to this one particular fraternity off campus to celebrate the victory.
Okay.
We knew about this because one of my friends, Alexandra, was dating a guy on the team. We got to the frat party around 11 o'clock, and things got pretty crazy. Everyone was getting drunk really fast, and we were all booing the school that we beat in different chants while the music blasted.
Okay.
I was taking shots and dancing with all my friends, having a blast.
Okay.
It's critical to note that my phone had died during this time. I had given it to Alexandra to put in her purse. Later, I told my friends that I had to go to the bathroom and to wait for me by the DJ booth. We were all pretty intoxicated at this point. While I was in the bathroom peeing, I heard some frat brother in the house scream "cops" at the top of his lungs, and people started screaming and scrambling to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I sprinted out of the frat house and was greeted by multiple cop cars and lights flashing.
Jeez.
People were sprinting in different directions. Some cops were already talking to the frat brothers, while others were trying to catch underage people. In my intoxicated state, I realized I didn't have my phone. I started yelling out for my friends while avoiding the cops. Realizing I wasn't going to be able to find them in the crowd, I decided to start making my way home, even though I wasn't entirely sure how to get home. This frat house was pretty far off campus in a different part from other frats.
Okay.
I started making my trek home, and it was absolutely freezing.
Jeez.
Even though it was only October, it was like 37 degrees that night. I'm still heavily tipsy, but conscious of everything around me. After a while, I knew I needed a break to warm up and hopefully sober up. I saw a building that looked like one of the academic buildings I'd heard about, so I approached it, opened the door, and stepped inside. It was pretty dark in there, but a few exit signs at different door entrances illuminated a decent portion of the inside. After 5 minutes, I started to sober up a little bit and realized I wasn't in an academic building. I was in a warehouse. I was much warmer, but I became nervous about the eerie feeling around me.
Yeah.
I went to open the door, and a pit sank in my stomach. It was locked. How could it have been opened if it was locked from the inside? I started to make my way towards a door near the exit sign. I pushed it open and went through the door, expecting it to lead me to outside, but it was to another part of the building.
Jesus.
This room was much smaller, illuminated by a low red light. There was a buzzing noise in the room from some machine. I could see chains hanging from the ceiling and steam in the room. I shit you not, it was like a typical horror movie scene.
Yeah.
I went to turn around and go back through the door, but this door was also locked behind me. Sheer panic set through me, and at this point, I was trying not to break down. I leaned up against the wall and slid down silently, crying. This is when I heard it. A door slammed shut and footsteps.
Oh, man.
I instantly went silent and my eyes widened. I heard another door shut and more footsteps.
Oh.
It was getting closer to my area. I saw the door next to me, and as quietly as possible, I opened it and snuck through. I started wading through the hanging chains and the steam. I heard the door from the previous room open and the footsteps approaching, and they were big, heavy footsteps. My fight or flight kicked in, and I came near a window. With all my might, I kicked it 5 times with my foot, shattering it. This was when I heard the feet running towards the door.
Whoa.
I had maybe 10 seconds to spare. I leapt out the window, not even realizing that the other side of the building I was now on happened to be a high drop.
Oh.
I fell like 10 feet out of the window, landing on top of 2 recycling bins.
Jesus.
I pushed myself off, shocked by the impact, and looked up at the window. It was shattered, and there was no one in the window frame. I dashed underneath some pine trees a few feet away, hiding myself in the shadows. When I looked back up, that's when I saw a figure looking out the window, looking in all directions for me. My whole body went numb in fear. As quietly as I could, I snuck across the street and ran. I ran for my life as fast as I could, for I didn't know how long until I recognized the side of campus my dorm was on.
Okay.
I got back to my dorm, and my friends were waiting for me outside, panicked and freaking out. They told me I had been gone for almost 4 hours.
Jeez.
The following day, I told them of my experience. My friends' mouths hung open as they listened to me talk. After further discussion, I discovered that it was a building that hadn't been used in several years. The pit in my stomach hit me again. Whoever was in the building wasn't a cop. He wasn't night security. This was some random person after me.
Yeah.
It still makes me sick to this day. If I hadn't been more quiet or thought as quickly, I could be dead.
Yep.
Even though I tried to find out information, nothing came up. It still remains the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm. Could have been a homeless person, probably. And that could... Oh, okay. Oh, those are 3 interesting stories. Okay, the last one there, like I said, that could have been a homeless person, maybe living in that building or something. So that, that's could have been that, like I said, a home, because a lot of, or sometimes squatters live in buildings that are not used in years. Squatters will squat in there, and they might have saw you lurking around and tried to chase you out because they don't want anybody invading their space. So it could have been that. But in any event, you shouldn't have went. First of all, you shouldn't have got. First, you don't give away your phone. I don't know why you gave your lady friend your phone. It's stupid to me. I don't understand why you did that instead of keeping your phone with you. That's stupid. Because in case, like I said, you could have called your friends and But anyway, that's just ridiculous. Exactly. And then you were a little tipsy, so. But I bet you that sobered you up, getting your heart rate. And like I said, you could have broke your arm or something. You kicked the window out and fell and landed on the recycle bin. Like I said, you could have, like I said, or landed on your head, landed on your neck, broke your neck. You gotta be exactly. That's why you shouldn't separate. You shouldn't separate, especially you're going to a party that's off campus that you've never been to before. Don't separate from your friends. That's just stupid. I know you got to use the bathroom, but that's stupid to separate from your friends. I understand that the police came and all that stuff, but never separate from your friends and always keep your phone on you. That's just ridiculous to give your phone to somebody else. That's ridiculous. But anyway, so that story. And the second story with the creepy roommate, that's just, again, I understand you kind of stuck, but I know they got to have, like, I don't know if they do this, because I think when I was in the service, I remember we lived in the dorm. I think when I lived in, when I, finished basic training and I got stationed in McGuire Air Force Base, New Jersey, we lived in the dorms, right? The men and women, the men lived in the first and second floors, and the women lived on the third floor. And I think what they did was, so everybody's assigned a room and a roommate. But I think they kept one room open for like people that just, that were like leaving or coming in, like I think like a guest room or something like that. And that's what I was thinking. Maybe they could have put you in a, sometimes they have a transition, but maybe they didn't have that in that college. Maybe all the rooms are, but usually they have like a guest room that people can stay in, like transition out of. Like when people are leaving, they move into that room till they leave, or when they're coming in, they stay in that room till they're assigned a room. But like I said, they may not do that in that college. But having a creepy roommate, I think you just got to lay it out on the line and say, listen, stop being effing creepy, okay? Okay, because this is ridiculous. And I know you probably get into trouble trying to do this. Say, listen, you keep acting creepy, I'm going to kick you behind. You're going to be sleeping in the hallway, okay? Because you can't, it's ridiculous. You can't sleep. And he still got to deal with it. You get this creepy room and you can't sleep, and he worried about what he's going to do in the box. I guess I was joking around saying that you probably could put your head in there, but you never know. This, you don't know where this guy comes from. What kind of meds he's on or not on anymore, and he's acting all especially creepy and creeping you out. Now that's something you got to not put up with, or at least you got to, even if you had to go above the RA's head, go above his head and say, listen, this is ridiculous. I can't deal with this guy, and depending on your situation, like how far you live away from the college, because that's a college that you're going away to, far away from home, then you kind of stuck. Although, like I said, if the college is within like driving distance and you have a car or something, then I would just move out and just and just live at home until I could drive and just drive to school for my classes and stuff and do if that's a possibility. Okay, I think that would be just an option rather than dealing with this creepy guy. Okay, because that's what if that was an option, I just tell, listen, I'm gonna move out, and just tell the RA, listen, whenever you get a room open, just let me know. Okay, I'm just gonna drive. I don't realize that everybody doesn't have a car and stuff, so that may not be an option. But if that's an option, I would do that just so I don't have to deal with this creepy guy. Okay, that you're worried about he's gonna smother you or do something creepy when you're sleeping, because you got to sleep. Okay, and being in a small room with another person you can't really trust, that's nerve wracking. You can't focus. You can't, and as much as you want to stay out of the room, eventually you got to come back in the room to go to sleep. So. And your stuff is there. So, like I said, depending on how far away the college is from, unfortunately, a lot of colleges are far away from, a lot of people don't go to a local college. They go away, sometimes they go away from college, so you're kind of like stuck. And that's why I feel for this guy, because he says he's still dealing with it, okay? Even though he was up front. But I think he did the right thing being up front with the guy, saying, listen, stop being freaking creepy, okay? But anyway, that's story. And then the first story, oh my God! Luckily for him, that he was able to run. That he was able to look in that car and see the guy laying in the back seat. Oh my God! And it is lucky that he called his friend too. Had his friend drive him so his friend could pick him up, because that was just creepy. So suppose your friend didn't pick you up, and then you're running down the street dodging this car that's you're in a deserted place. That's why you don't go to a place you've never been to before, or at least go to the place before the interview just to see where it is. I understand sometimes you don't think that way, but I think that would be the best course of action, especially you're going to meet somebody in somewhere that you've never been before. Go to that place, a day, 2 days or something before the meeting, just to see where it is and what's going. If this is a real place, and it turned out actually not to be a coffee shop, basically a deserted area where you're vulnerable. Okay, and you could have easily been snatched up and murdered and stuff and robbed and your body dumped on that empty street. So, and luckily for you, was able to jump up and grab that ladder, that the fire escape, that probably saved your life. Doing that. So. That's why you got to be careful, especially you're going to meet somebody. That's why they always say meetings, hookups, always meet in a public place, that you've been before, or a place you've inspected before. Don't meet somebody somewhere you've never been before. That's just insane at doing something like that, because anything could happen. And like this case, this guy's going to probably kidnap, torture you, who knows, rape you, murder you, rob you. You never know. That's just... Oh my! But I think you definitely should have called the police. I told the police about the fake profile on LinkedIn. Just tell them, listen, because you probably try to do it with somebody else, and maybe that person wasn't as fortunate like you to get away. That's what I'm saying. You got to report that. You can't keep that to yourself. No, tell the police. Call the police. Call campus security and all that stuff, and let them know. Listen, I checked out this fake profile, and there was a guy waiting there, to rob me or murder me or whatever. Okay, so please investigate this so the cops can. Hopefully arrest the guy, because who knows, if he didn't get you, he probably had somebody else set up to fall for that, and that person could not be as fortunate as you and get away. So you got to report that stuff. Don't keep that stuff to yourself and just be freaked out about it. No, call the police, let them know exactly what happened, give them all the information. They have to, so let the detectives investigate that, and maybe they can even set up a phony thing where they go answer, the cops, and they can stake it out and arrest these guys that were out, obviously. Setting up people to be robbed and murdered and stuff. So definitely report that stuff. Anyway, let me know what you think if you like these stories. Like I said, especially the first one was just incredibly creepy. Okay, even the second one with the roommate, because you got to be in the same room with him. The third story, okay, that's on him. I think he's definitely, don't separate from your friends, especially when you go to a party. Do not say, I understand he had to go to a bathroom and stuff. And don't give away your phone. Why would you give your phone to somebody else and not keep your phone on you? That's just silly. Keep your phone on you and keep it fully charged, especially if you're going out. keep your phone on you and keep it fully charged. Because suppose if he had his phone with him and he could have called 911 or something and or called his friends and tell them, listen, come get me. I'm lost, but you got to jump out the window and you could have broke your neck by doing that. Come on, never give away your phone. Keep your phone on you at all times and make sure it's fully charged and you have your charger with you. Okay, do not, that's silly. I don't understand college people, people get drunk and forget things, act stupid, but yeah, literally his life could have been on the line. Okay, and him not keeping his phone on him and him separating from his friends, bad idea. Anyway, let me know what you think of this stories from Mr. Nightmare. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Okay, in the description box, I'll leave a link to Mr. Nightmare's channel, so you can check out his video. So you can check out his channels. Also, please, in the description box, I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel, Club Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. Also, I have a link down below to my Patreon. I want to say a special thank you to my patrons. The names will appear in this video somewhere. I want to say thank you to them supporting me, always have my back. And again, my Patreon is only $5 a month. I have tons of content on there, tons of unedited content on there. Everything from movies on there. I got Marvel shows, DC TV shows. I got Gen V on there as well. Okay, the last things I put on my Patreon page is the 3 X-Men 97 episodes they released. Those they're all unedited. And if you go to my homepage, follow the link to my Patreon page, you'll get 30-second clips, preview clips of all the content that I have on my channel, so you can check it out that way, okay? Also, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long, and take care.